The equation of the terminal side of the angle theta is given by this. The square root of 3 times x plus y equals 0 for x less than or equal to 0. Find the 6 trig function values of theta. Let's go ahead and work through this. So to do this, we have to basically find a point on this line. So before we do that, let's go ahead and take this equation and solve it for y, because I'm trying to pick a point that's going to give us something nice. So we'll subtract the square root of 3 times x from both sides. So that'll give us negative root 3 times x. So we have to pick something that's negative, right? Because we have that x is less than or equal to 0. By the way, we do allow for equality here. It can be equal to 0, but if we pick 0, it's not going to help us solve the problem. So we should pick a number that is actually negative. So maybe a good choice would just be negative 1. So if we pick x equals negative 1, then y is going to be negative square root of 3 times negative 1. So that's the square root of 3. So our point in this case is going to be negative 1 comma square root of 3. If you wanted to draw a picture of the angle, what you would do is you would draw the y-axis and the x-axis, and you would go left by 1 and up by the square root of 3 and do something like this, and there would be your angle. A rough sketch of the angle. Left 1 unit, up square root of 3 units, and there's your angle. The next step is to use the formulas. So this is our x and this is our y. And so the formula for the sine of theta is y over r. So y over r. So in this case, that would be the square root of 3 over r. So what is r? We have to find that. So r is given by the square root of x squared plus y squared. And that would be negative 1 squared plus the square root of 3 squared, plugging in negative 1 and the square root of 3. So this is equal to negative 1 squared is 1. The square root of 3 squared is 3. So you get 1 plus 3, so you get the square root of 4, which is 2. So r is 2 in this problem. So here sine would simply be the square root of 3 over 2. The formula for cosine of theta is x over r. So in this case, it would be negative 1 over r, which is 2. So that would be the answer there. And then the formula for the tangent of theta would be y over x. So in this case, it would be the square root of 3 over negative 1, which is just negative square root of 3. To find the other answers, we just flip all of these answers, because cosecant of theta is the reciprocal of sine. So you would just get 2 over the square root of 3. If you wanted to rationalize it, you could. You would multiply by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3, because you're basically multiplying by 1. And then 2 times the square root of 3 is 2 times the square root of 3. And then on the bottom, the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is just 3. Similarly, for secant of theta, we just flip the negative 1/2. That gives us negative 2 over 1, which is just negative 2. And the last one would be cotangent. So cotangent of theta, we would just flip this one. So we would get negative 1 over the square root of 3. Because this is really over 1, and so you flip it, and you get a 1 up top. And you could rationalize this by multiplying by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. So this would be negative square root of 3 over 3. And that would be the answer for cotangent. That's it.